Wake up. Your time is running out. Let those words slice through the heavy, comfortable fog that has settled over your mind for the last 6 months, the last year, or perhaps even the last decade of your existence. Look around you right now, wherever you are sitting, and recognize the terrifying truth that you have been living your life as if you have an absolute infinity of time. You wake up, you drift through your routines, and you spend your precious, irreplaceable hours consuming digital garbage, scrolling through mindless algorithmic feeds, and telling yourself comfortable lies about how you will eventually get your life together when the circumstances are magically perfect. But let reality hit you hard right now. There is no infinite reservoir of days waiting for you in the future. The supply is strictly limited, and the meter is running every single second. Every tick of the clock is not just a measurement of passing time. It is the physical subtraction of an hour, a minute, a second that you will never see again for the rest of your eternity. You do not know how many years you have left. You do not know how many clean opportunities are remaining on your ledger. And you do not know when your physical energy will suddenly plunge towards zero. The ultimate tragedy of your current existence is not that you lack the talent, the intelligence, or the resources to build an extraordinary destiny. The tragedy is that you are actively throwing away your days as if they are disposable pieces of plastic, completely blind to the fact that the window of your potential is closing tighter and tighter with every single breath you take. You treat time like it is a free commodity, but it is the rarest, most expensive currency in the universe, and you are currently letting it bleed out into the ground like water from a broken pipe. The problem is not that you don't have time. The problem is that you are completely wasting it under the catastrophic assumption that you will always be given another tomorrow. Wake up from this toxic illusion before time decides to wake you up by taking your choices away forever. The brutal truth is that you are currently sleeping through your own life. You might open your eyes every morning, pull yourself out of bed, drag your body to work or school, consume food, scroll through your smartphone, and go back to sleep. But inside the deep core of your consciousness, you are completely dead to the world. You are running on pure autopilot, living as a biological ghost that simply reacts to external stimuli without ever asserting a singular ounce of conscious will or deep personal mission. You have allowed yourself to become completely domesticated by comfort, completely paralyzed by routines that serve absolutely no greater purpose other than keeping you numb to the quiet desperation of your stagnation. Look at your daily patterns over the last month and answer this honestly. Are you actually orchestrating your destiny? Or are you just surviving the day so you can crawl back into bed and hide from reality? Most people die long before their hearts actually stop beating. They pass away the exact moment they stop demanding growth, the exact moment they accept a lifestyle of permanent distraction, and the exact moment they trade their magnificent potential for a heavily cushioned prison of mediocrity. You are standing in the middle of your own life as a passive spectator, watching your youth, your vitality, and your intelligence drift down a river of cheap entertainment and empty conversations. It is a profoundly dark and haunting state of being to realize that you are actively participating in your own erasure. If you do not stand up right now, grab the steering wheel of your mind and shock your nervous system back into high-intensity awareness. You will spend the rest of your years wandering through a grey landscape of unfulfilled desires, wondering how an entire lifetime could have passed by while you were busy looking at a screen. Every single time you utter the words tomorrow, next week, or when I feel ready, you are actively watching a thief break into your house and steal your future right in front of your face. Procrastination is not an innocent, harmless habit that you can easily brush off as a minor personality quirk. It is a violent, systematic act of self-betrayal that erases your self-respect and destroys your authority over your own destiny. Every single instance of delay pushes your goals further into an unreachable horizon, training your brain to become a weak, unreliable instrument that collapses the moment it encounters the clean friction of hard work. When you choose to postpone your study, your physical training, or your business creation, you are not just skipping a temporary task, you are actively strengthening a neural network of cowardice and avoidance. You are telling your subconscious mind that your conscious word carries absolutely no weight, that your dreams are completely disposable, and that your immediate desire for temporary comfort is infinitely more important than your long-term legacy. This continuous hesitation completely strips you of your momentum until you find yourself completely paralyzed by an overwhelming mountain of unmade decisions, unread books, and unexecuted ideas. The internal mechanism of your confidence becomes thoroughly rusted, leaving you to look at successful, disciplined individuals with a bitter mixture of envy and self-pity. wondering why they possess the strength that you continuously volunteer to throw away. The price of your procrastination is a slow, agonizing death of your self-trust, leaving you stranded in a permanent state of anxiety because your mind knows it is being governed by a thoroughly incompetent leader. Let us strip away the comforting, pathetic lie that you simply do not have enough hours in the day to accomplish your highest goals. You possess the exact same 24 hours that every elite performer, every master creator, and every high-performance individual in human history has used to bend reality to their will. The difference is not that they are given an extra hidden window of time. The difference is that they treat their focus as an absolute weapon, while you treat yours like a piece of cheap confetti to be scattered into the wind. You claim you are too busy, too exhausted, and too overwhelmed to dedicate an hour to studying a complex skill or training your physical vessel. Yet you somehow always manage to discover 3 hours to lose your consciousness in a black hole of short-form video feeds, digital entertainment, and toxic internet drama. You always possess an abundance of time for the things that you truly prioritize. If your life has remained completely stagnant for the past year, it is not because the universe has denied you a pathway to growth. It is because you have consciously prioritized immediate, effortless dopamine hits over the agonizing, heavy work of transformation. If you look at the raw data of your screen time metrics, you will face an undeniable, empirical proof of your own self-destruction. You are volunteering to remain weak because you are continuously placing your temporary comfort above your ultimate survival. If you refuse to rearrange your hierarchy of priorities, if you continue to give your best energy to multi-billion-dollar tech corporations that are explicitly designed to colonize your attention span, then you have absolutely no right to complain about the painful mediocrity of your reality. A single day spent in absolute laziness, distraction, and avoidance feels completely harmless in the moment. You tell yourself that skipping a single workout, wasting a single evening, or eating a single meal of processed garbage carries absolutely no real penalty. And from a purely short-term perspective, you appear to be completely correct. Your life does not collapse overnight because you spent 4 hours scrolling through a digital feed. Your bank account does not hit zero because you chose to hit the snooze button 3 times this morning. But this is exactly why the downward spiral of a human existence is so profoundly dangerous. It operates through the dark mathematics of compounding micro-failures. A single wasted day creates a subtle, invisible drop in your baseline standards, making it slightly easier to justify a second wasted day tomorrow. A week of stagnation blends seamlessly into a month of numbness, and a month of numbness quietly solidifies into a year of absolute decay. Before you even realize what has occurred, you look at the calendar and discover that an entire phase of your life has been permanently stolen from you, leaving you with nothing to show for those hundreds of days except a heavier body, a more anxious mind, and a deep, burning sense of internal shame. You do not lose your life in a single dramatic explosion of bad luck. You drop it piece by piece, hour by hour, day by day, through a series of tiny, seemingly insignificant choices that you convince yourself do not matter. The daily decisions you make when nobody is watching are the quiet bricks that are currently constructing either the palace of your success or the tomb of your regret. Take an unvarnished look at the biological reality of your body and recognize that your youth, your raw physical health, and your mental energy are rapidly depleting assets with a strict expiration date. When you are young, your brain possesses an immense level of neuroplasticity. Your body recovers from strain with incredible speed, and your spirit is unburdened by the heavy, suffocating responsibilities of late-stage existence. You live under the childish delusion that this high-energy window will remain open forever, allowing you to treat your current days as disposable trash while assuming you can easily build an empire later when you are older. But biology is completely unyielding and brutally indifferent to your plans. With every passing year, your baseline energy drops, your cognitive processing speed slows down, your family gets older and requires more of your protective strength, and the weight of your financial obligations multiplies exponentially. The stakes of the game become immensely higher, while your capacity to handle massive structural shifts drops severely. You cannot live your life as if you will always possess the raw energy of a 20-year-old. You cannot assume that the doors of opportunity that are open to you today will remain unlocked 5 years from now. The world moves at a ruthless pace, and if your value, your skill set, and your character remain completely stagnant while your age increases, you will find yourself pushed to the margins of reality, completely crushed by a generation that was willing to sweat while you chose to sleep. The absolute most terrifying thing about your current habit of delay is that you are comforting yourself with an entity that does not exist. The myth of later. You tell your anxiety, later, I will clean up my diet. Later, I will build that stream of income. Later, I will become a disciplined, powerful individual who commands respect. You look into the distant future and imagine a version of yourself that is somehow magically filled with courage, focus, and drive, without ever explaining how that transformation will actually occur without immediate action. Let reality shatter that delusion right now. There is no magical future version of you waiting to save your life. The person you will be 6 months from now, 1 year from now, or 5 years from now is nothing more than the direct mathematical sum of the choices you are making in this exact hour. If you are lazy, distracted, and fearful today, you are actively manufacturing a future self who is even more lazy, more distracted, and more deeply paralyzed by fear. One day, you will run out of later. You will reach a cold, dark morning where you look into the mirror and realize that your youth is gone, your health is broken, your opportunities have dried up, and you are completely out of time. The word later is the ultimate psychological drug that allows you to feel the comforting emotion of progress while you are actively destroying your own potential. If you do not pull that future version of yourself into the present moment and force him to execute right now, you are guaranteed to live a life that ends in absolute, unadulterated regret. Consider the true, hidden cost of your refusal to wake up and face the friction of reality. If you choose to maintain your current lifestyle, your life will not suddenly explode into a dramatic crisis that forces you to change. No, the consequence is far more agonizing. Your life will simply continue to get smaller, colder, and more restricted every single day. You will remain trapped in the exact same exhausting loop that has governed your existence for far too long. You will wake up every morning feeling an immediate wave of fatigue and dread, drag your body through a job or routine that completely uninspires your soul, and spend your evenings drowning your underlying anxiety in a sea of cheap digital distraction. At night, when the screens go dark and the room falls completely silent, you will lie awake staring at the ceiling, feeling a heavy, suffocating sense of self-loathing because you know you have betrayed your potential once again. You will make a desperate, emotional promise to yourself that tomorrow will be completely different, only to wake up the next morning and repeat the exact same pathetic cycle of avoidance. This is the living death of the unawakened soul, a permanent state of background panic, a chronic erosion of self-respect, and a deep knowledge that you are actively wasting the one and only life you will ever be granted on this earth. The loop will not break itself. It will continue to tighten around your throat until you stand up and break it with raw, physical force. Stop waiting for a massive life shock, a catastrophic medical diagnosis, a sudden financial collapse, or an agonizing heartbreak to finally wake you up from your slumber. Most people are so fundamentally weak that they only agree to alter their behavior when they are backed completely into a corner by intense, unbearable pain. They wait until their doctor tells them their body is failing, or until their boss tells them they are fired, or until their partner packs their bags and leaves them in an empty house before they finally open their eyes and say, "I need to get serious." But waiting for a crisis to force your transformation is a profoundly dangerous, losing strategy. By the time the shock arrives, the damage to your body, your finances, or your relationships is often completely irreversible. You are forced to spend your remaining energy fighting a desperate, defensive war of survival rather than building a magnificent empire from a position of absolute strength. An exceptional individual does not require a tragedy to shock them into awareness. They possess the raw intelligence to look at the subtle warning signs in their current daily routine and choose to wake up before the fire destroys the structure. They look at their messy room, their creeping debt, their declining physical stamina, and their scattered attention span, and they say, "This ends today." Be your own alarm clock. Do not wait for life to humble you into the dirt before you decide to stand up and fight for your potential. True awakening is not a superficial emotional high that you experience after reading a piece of intense motivational text. It is not a temporary surge of energy that makes you feel powerful for an hour before you slide right back into your old habits of comfort and avoidance. True awakening is an act of cold, mature, and uncompromised responsibility. It is the moment you stop blaming your parents, your environment, your economic system, or your past traumas for your current state of unhappiness and stagnation. It is the day you stand naked before the mirror of reality and say, "Where I am right now is completely my fault, and therefore fixing it is entirely my job." It means conducting a brutal, unvarnished audit of your daily schedule, your physical health, your financial spending, your digital consumption, and the quality of the people you allow into your circle. It means looking at your excuses and calling them exactly what they are: cowardice. When you accept radical responsibility for your life, you instantly strip the external world of its power over your emotions. It no longer matters how difficult your starting conditions were or who broke your heart in the past. Those variables belong to a history that cannot be rewritten, but your immediate execution belongs entirely to a present that you control. Stop looking for a savior to drop from the sky and pull you out of the mud. Stand up on your own 2 feet, accept the heavy weight of your own existence, and begin the silent, grinding process of fixing your reality. If you want to know exactly who is controlling your life, whether it is your conscious mind or your lowest animal laziness, you only need to look at how you manage the first 2 hours of your morning. The morning is the ultimate battleground for the human soul. If your daily routine begins with your alarm going off, your hand immediately reaching for your smartphone, and your brain drowning in a sea of cheap social media notifications before your feet have even touched the floor, you have already lost the day before it has even begun. You are starting your morning in a highly reactive, anxious, and hyper-stimulated state, handing the raw focus of your brain to corporate software that wants to keep you dependent and weak. You drag your body out of bed at the last possible second, rushing through your preparation, completely unorganized, and feeling as though you are constantly chasing a train that has already left the station. This chaotic morning routine creates a toxic baseline that guarantees the rest of your day will be spent in a state of unfocused distraction and psychological exhaustion. If you cannot even master the choice to step out of your bed without entering into a negotiation with your own comfort, you will never possess the strength required to master a complex career, a powerful body, or a magnificent life. You must secure the morning with absolute military precision. Turn your alarm into a non-negotiable command. Banish the smartphone from your bedroom and use those initial quiet hours to anchor your mind, organize your schedule, and set a tone of absolute dominance for the rest of the day. Just as the morning determines the direction of your day, the way you manage your evening determines the structural quality of your recovery and your readiness for tomorrow. The evening is where most people actively participate in their own self-destruction. After a long day of work or school, your willpower is naturally depleted, and your brain is screaming for a soft release from tension. This is the precise moment you enter into the danger zone. Instead of utilizing your evening to transition your mind into deep, high-quality sleep through reading, organization, and quiet reflection, you choose to throw your brain into a high-intensity furnace of hyper-stimulating digital content. You sit on your bed for hours, scrolling through short videos late into the night, delaying your sleep window, and systematically lowering your body's melatonin production. You fill your mind with a chaotic mixture of useless consumer information, performative internet drama, and toxic social comparisons right before you close your eyes. The inevitable downstream consequence of this lifestyle is a night of superficial, fractured sleep, leaving you to wake up the next morning feeling like a biological zombie, completely drained of raw focus and completely prone to another day of intense procrastination. Your evenings are the foundation upon which your mornings are constructed. If your evenings are an unorganized mess of digital addiction, your mornings will always be weak. And a weak morning guarantees a life of permanent stagnation. Break the cycle of nighttime self-sabotage, establish a strict digital curfew, and treat your evening hours as a sacred ground for mental recovery and strategic preparation. To reclaim the architecture of your time, you must execute an immediate, ruthless cut of the specific parasitic entities that are currently draining your active energy into the earth. Look closely at your everyday existence and identify the black holes where your potential goes to die. The endless hours spent on online video games, the constant consumption of trash media, the participation in useless group chats filled with gossip, and the habit of overthinking scenarios that will never happen in real life. These activities are not innocent forms of relaxation. They are digital parasites that are actively feeding on your focus, rewriting your attention span, and lowering your capacity to tolerate deep, prolonged mental strain. You cannot expect to build a powerful, high-value identity while your mind is constantly being flooded with low-tier noise. You must gather the courage to stand up and strip these distractions out of your life with surgical precision. Delete the applications from your phone that you know you cannot control. Cut off the relationships with toxic acquaintances who only want to consume substances and complain about the world. And clear the physical clutter out of your room until your space looks like a clean, focused command center. You must aggressively protect your attention span as if it were your most valuable financial asset. Because in the modern economy, your focus is the only currency that can buy you a path to absolute personal freedom. Do not allow the sudden intensity of this text to push you into the common psychological trap of attempting an immediate, total overhaul of your entire life in a single evening. When people experience a deep burst of motivational guilt, their immediate instinct is to write down an incredibly unrealistic master plan where they vow to suddenly change every single habit they possess simultaneously. They promise to wake up 4 hours earlier, hit the gym twice a day, read an entire book every week, and completely stop consuming any form of digital comfort starting tomorrow morning. This strategy is a complete disaster that fails nearly every single time because it completely ignores the laws of human biology. Your brain deeply values homeostatic stability, and when you attempt to force a massive shock onto your entire lifestyle, your nervous system will respond with an overwhelming wave of exhaustion and intense self-sabotage, causing you to collapse straight back into your old patterns within 48 hours. Transformation does not require a loud, dramatic performance. It requires the quiet, mechanical execution of small, progressive micro-steps. Stop trying to conquer the entire mountain in a single afternoon. Instead, choose one single, compact, manageable change, commit to it with total pride, and execute it with absolute perfection day after day. Focus on winning a single hour of deep study, securing a single clean meal, or stepping out of bed the exact millisecond your alarm rings. Once that micro-victory is completely automated into your identity, you earn the right to add the next layer of discipline. Shift your entire psychological focus away from the overwhelming task of fixing your entire life and concentrate all your energy on mastering a single, isolated unit of reality. Today, you cannot fix the mistakes of your past, and you cannot control the complexities of your distant future. The only arena where you possess absolute personal sovereignty is the 16 hours of active consciousness that are directly in front of your face right now. Make a covenant with yourself that today will not be another disposable day that you throw into the garbage. Commit to creating a single day that is entirely free from the weight of self-sabotage and mindless procrastination. Force yourself to complete your most important work task first. Spend 20 minutes straining your physical muscles, feed your body clean fuel, and turn off your digital screens at a structured hour. Treat this single day as if it were a complete, self-contained miniature lifetime. If you can learn how to protect a single day from the forces of laziness and distraction, you can learn how to protect a week. If you can protect a week, you can protect a month. And if you can protect a month, you can completely redesign your entire destiny. A magnificent life is nothing more than a collection of successful, disciplined days stitched together through the power of consistency. Stop worrying about the next 5 years and focus entirely on creating a masterpiece out of today. Project your consciousness forward onto a highly real, rapidly approaching horizon, exactly 6 months from this calendar date. 6 months is a beautiful, highly strategic block of time because it is short enough to maintain an intense sense of daily urgency, yet long enough to completely overwrite the structural reality of your health, your intellect, your finances, and your self-esteem. You must recognize that those 6 months are going to pass by regardless of what you choose to do next. Time will continue its relentless march forward with absolute indifference to your feelings. When you reach that future date, you will inevitably look back at this exact moment, and you will either be filled with an immense sense of pride or a crushing weight of bitter regret. Imagine the first future, where you choose to ignore this text and continue down the path of least resistance. You will wake up 6 months from now with the exact same soft body, the same low bank account, and the same underlying anxiety. But you will be 6 months closer to your grave with even less confidence in your own word. Now imagine the alternative future, where you choose to face the friction starting today. You will wake up with an elite physical vessel, a sharp focus, a highly specialized skill set, and a deep, unshakable sense of authentic self-respect. The calendar will move regardless of your choice. The question is simply whether you will arrive at that horizon holding a basket of cheap excuses or a mountain of indisputable, real-world proof. We have reached the ultimate crucible of our interaction, the exact point where the noise of motivation must transform into the cold metal of physical execution. You have consumed an immense amount of high-intensity truth, and your brain is likely experiencing a temporary surge of intellectual clarity and emotional energy. But right here lies the absolute deadliest trap of the self-help consumer. If you simply close this screen, sigh with temporary satisfaction, and immediately return to your old habits of mindless browsing and digital comfort, you have turned this interaction into nothing more than a cheap emotional escape. You have used these words to get a fast hit of inspiration without paying the real-world price of actual labor. I do not want your temporary motivation, and I do not care about your emotional promises. I want you to take immediate, physical action the exact second this text ends. Do not plan it, do not overthink it, and do not enter into a negotiation with your comfort. Stand up right now. Clean your messy desk until it looks like a military barracks. Drop to the floor and push your physical muscles to absolute failure. Delete the addictive applications from your phone. Open that complex book and study for an hour without looking at a screen. Do something real that sends a powerful, definitive shockwave through your nervous system, announcing to your subconscious mind that the era of sleeping through your life is officially over, and that you have finally stepped into the arena as an active creator. Do not wait until your health is completely broken before you value the magnificent machine of your body. Do not wait until your finances are completely ruined before you practice the art of financial discipline. Do not wait until your youth, your raw energy, and your finest opportunities have completely evaporated into the wind before you decide to stand up and live an exceptional life. The realization that nobody is ever coming to save you, that no one is going to hand you success on a silver platter, and that you are completely on your own is the greatest, most liberating gift you could ever receive. It means the remote control of your destiny is held entirely in your own hands. You are no longer a helpless victim of your circumstances. You are an active force of nature, capable of bending reality to your will through the power of unshakable discipline. The pen is in your hand, the clock is running down, the seconds are evaporating, and the arena of your life is waiting for a leader to take command. Wake up. Use your time. Stop wasting your life. Start before it's too late.